Hello, young biology pupils. I'm Chloe Hetherington, and in this video, you'll be learning about a process that's occurring inside you right now, a process that you need to survive, the cell cycle. In simple form, the cell cycle is the process which a body cell undergoes cell division to produce new cells. Before dividing, a cell in the cell cycle grows in size. The DNA completely duplicates, and the cell continues to grow. All of the pre-division phases within the cell are part of interphase. The actual cell division phase is much shorter and made up of 5 phases, in which the cell divides into 2 equal cells that are exact duplicates of each other and the original parent cell. The picture to the right shows cells in the different stages of cell division. The cell cycle is a necessity to us and to every life form. However, without regulation, the cell cycle would be detrimental and fatal to us. This is why the cell cycle has 3 checkpoints. The first checkpoint occurs in G1, the first part of the cell's growth. If certain growth has not occurred by G1, then the cell will enter the G0 phase, in which it does not divide at all. The next checkpoint occurs in the G2 phase, checking for crucial events such as growth and duplication. And the third and last checkpoint occurs in the M phase, during cell division, which checks to ensure that cell division is dividing properly. If the proper events have occurred as they should, signals will be sent that allow the cell to continue in the cell cycle. The checklist demonstrates an everyday representation of the cell cycle, which shows that once a checkpoint has been completed, you will go on to the next checkpoint and complete all of the events necessary to check it off and keep going. And this is exactly what cells do, like a to-do list. The signals at the checkpoints and throughout the cell cycle are needed for regulation and control. Certain signals needed for cell division are MPF and PDGF. The MPF is cyclin dependent, which we will discuss in the next slide. The purpose of the MPF in the cell cycle is to promote cell division by activating proteins. If these proteins are not activated, then the cell cycle will not be able to complete and cell division will not be able to continue because certain events will not have been completed by the checkpoints. Of equal importance is the PDGF, which is a growth factor, which is also a stimulator. As shown in the diagram, the PDGF binds to receptor proteins, which stimulates the signals that are required for cells to pass the G1 checkpoint and thus divide. The importance of signals and the factors that contribute to them cannot be stressed enough. The first picture to show up in this slide is that of a cyclin attached to a cyclin-dependent kinase. As mentioned in the previous slide and building on the previous slide, certain necessary proteins require cyclins in order to activate proteins and trigger signals. Without a cyclin to bind to a CDK, activation would not occur and cell division would not occur. As seen in the graph, cyclins are prevalent throughout the cell cycle, as it is activated proteins that move a cell through the cell cycle and achieve the events necessary to pass the checkpoints and divide. Without cyclins, CDKs cannot do their job and the cell cycle cannot continue. As seen in all of the slides before, there are several factors and signals that all must come together and work in harmony to carry out the cell cycle. However, this does not always occur. A disruption in the cell cycle in which a cell does not respond to the checkpoints, meaning also that signals do not affect the cell, results in fatal consequences. The resultant disease is known as cancer. Cancer is caused by a single abnormal cell. A cancer cell's lack of response to checkpoints means that there is not control over that cell's actions. Thus, without any checking and regulatory checkpoints, cancer cells divide continuously. Because of this, the cancer cell population grows in size at an exponential rate as uncontrolled cell division continues. Most abnormal cells are destroyed by the immune system, but cancer evades destruction, wreaks havoc by disrupting the immune system and cell cycle, and can lead to death. To conclude, the cell cycle is like a giant puzzle, where all the pieces must fit for success. It may seem complicated, but to your cells, it's a process that occurs every day and is quite ordinary. I hope you enjoyed these comics and jokes, and I hope this was helpful.